Oh,
Oh.
that Daisy, that's your face, not Jim's face. Okay, that one is Jim's face. Hi. Hi, and we're back with Jim in his kitchen. And Jim, what are you drinking now? Because I'm having a nice Manhattan, the opposite of ham and bananas.
I'm still enjoying the cool, refreshing taste of Hunted by Al Ridge Zinfandel from Lodi,
You know, when the
2021.
when the owl turns blue, that's how you know it's cold enough.
Okay.
Coors Light,
What?
silver. You ain't
Oh.
crushing silver bullets with the boys.
Oh, I don't drink that. No, no.
Jim's
You said cool
beyond
and
this.
refreshing, and I'm like, oh, it's not a Coors. Coors banquet beer, brother.
Coors, baby. Hell
Um,
yeah. Jim, why should I get a proper wine glass?
You don't have a
Okay,
wine
so
glass?
I'm pouring this into a red wine globe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you could pour a little more in there, but the whole point of it is that you have quite a bit of headspace in there for oxygen exposure, and the oxygen's
right.
going to react with the tannins in the wine. It's going to smooth out the mouthfeel, so you're not getting as much kind of astringent bite to it. It's also opening up the fruity flavors and aromas that are trapped in there. So back when I worked in the industry, we would always walk people through the 5 S's of wine tasting. If you're playing along at home, I'm going to invite you to do this with me.
I think they are playing along at home.
Yeah, because folklorists drink like fish. So, Daisy is holding her glass the correct way. I always recommend hold it by the stem.
The stem.
Yeah, because if you hold it by the bulb of the glass, you're going to heat it up. Now, with brandy, that's nice. With a red wine, it's forgivable. With like a chilled wine, don't do it. So, but I always tell people the first glass, hold it like this. Second glass, hold it like that. Third, fourth, fifth glass, you hold it for dear life, especially if you are on plush white carpeting. So, now that you've got your glass,
Yes.
you really want to break down the wine systematically and ask yourself why you like it or why you don't like it. And whenever I used to lead wine tasting experiences, I would always tell people, you have the right to not like something. That's okay, but you need to find the words to explain why. So, how do we do that? If you do the system we call the 5 S's of wine tasting, it's going to help you get there. The first one is sight. So, I want you to take your beverage, I want you to kind of tilt it at an angle like that, and then study it. And when I would do this with a room full of people, I would say, now turn to the person next to you and say, you look really sophisticated right now. So realistically, there are just certain things you're looking at. You can admire the color. People always talk about the legs on wine. I always say, don't be the person to bring that up. You sound pretentious. But what they're talking about, with some wines, when you swirl them in the glass, you'll start to see these little teardrops forming. Like, kind of hard to see. But I think in Spanish, yeah, they call them tears. We call them the legs in English. In German, they're Kirchenfenster or church windows. It's not a sign of quality. The only reason you see that happening is because alcohol and water evaporate at different rates, and it kind of breaks there, and you see those forming. You find it with wines that are north of 13% alcohol by volume, and or wines that have a higher sugar content. You can actually cover up the glass with your hand and swirl it, and it will inhibit it. It also doesn't happen as much depending upon the relative humidity in the air. So this is a higher alcohol Zinfandel, so yeah, I'm definitely seeing the legs. Okay,
yours is actually good. I got two things to say about this wine. One is when I poured it, it looked a little clear, like it looked a little pale for what I'm used to for a Pinot. It's like not quite yellow enough. I was like, this looks like a little light to me. Second, it has no legs. There's not a single fucking leg on this thing.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm just like,
How many church windows are there?
Walking along at home, there's no church windows. There's not a god in sight.
Eine Kirchenfenster in meine Wein.
Human beings.
There you go. There's your Wolfenstein.
What's a god to a king? What's a king to a
Not
god?
a leg in sight on this.
We knocked out the first S, which is sight.
Okay.
Second S, I jumped the gun. Everybody, hold your glass, swirl it.
Oh, sight
Now this
swirl.
also looks very sophisticated, but what you're doing is you are volatilizing the esters in there. You are opening up the flavors and aromas that are trapped in the wine to make it easier for you to pick up on them. So we did sight, we did swirl. Third S is sniff. Stick your nose in the glass and take a big sniff. Don't hold it down here and be like, kind of smells like wine, I guess. No, I want you to go and then let your imagination run wild. Ask yourself, what does this smell like? What does this remind me of? Go with the first thing that hits you. It doesn't matter if it's off the wall.
I got some legs. I found
What
legs.
do bitters smell like? Like, what does that
Getting
smell
a
like?
1980s pleather handbag in a nice way.
I'm getting Jap's Bar from over the Rhine, Cincinnati on 13th and Walnut. That's what bitters will always make me think of.
Honestly,
That's fair.
I'm getting.
I don't know what bitters are supposed to smell like.
I'm getting vinegar and ethanol. Not good.
Okay, well, you can cook with it. Make a vinaigrette.
So definitely be a good vinaigrette wine.
So we did sight, we did swirl, we did sniff. We can move on to the fun one. Sip.
Okay.
Go ahead, sip. And ask yourself, what does it taste like? What does it remind me of? Now, about 80% of what you taste is influenced by what you smell. So you're probably going to see some overlap between the flavor and the aroma.
This is like a high acidic wine.
Yeah,
Like,
that's...
and I the only reason I know that is because I used to do coffee, and they have like a very similar. I used to be a barista, and they have a really similar tasting like method as does the wine industry and etc.
Yeah. And
They were
you've taken us to the fifth S, which is savor. That's where I like to think about things like, is it too sweet? Is it too dry? Does it have a lot of weight or body on the tongue, or is it very light on the palate? I like to think about the acidity. So higher acid wines are going to cause your mouth to salivate naturally. So in wine speak, we call it palate cleansing, which is better than this wine makes you spit. But yeah, wines with a higher acid are really good for pairing with foods. So if you're looking for wines for your Thanksgiving dinner, my favorite thing when I worked in the wine industry was the week in the lead up to Thanksgiving to help people find their favorite wines to match with their Thanksgiving menu. The hard thing is not matching it to the turkey, it's matching it to the side dishes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would recommend something that was very middle of the road. You don't want to spend too much money because, let's be honest, we all have those problem drinker cousins who are just going to guzzle whatever's there regardless of the price. And then you have some people who are going to hate it no matter what you put out there. So save the good stuff for you. Find a very workmanlike wine for your Thanksgiving. This year at my family Thanksgiving, we're doing, as the white option, a Chenin Blanc from the Loire River Valley in France. Specifically the town of Vouvray, if you are playing along at home. And we're also doing a very light Côte de Rhône for the red wine drinkers.
Côte de Rhône and like poultry go good together.
Yeah, and then because I have to do all the cooking myself for 6 people, I'm going to be drinking vermouth on the rocks.
Oh my god,
Jim,
something is just connected for me, and it may show up in the interview, but like I think you're such a host with the mostest, right?
I try.
This is connecting a lot for me about like the realm of domesticity and performance that I think we're gonna get into in a little bit. Anyway.
Yeah, if you want, we can go there. Just to wrap up the wine
first. Yeah, go. Yeah, wrap up the wine.
To wrap up the wine tasting, you take the 5 S's, you boil them down to, would I drink this again? The answer is yes, keep drinking it. The answer is no, move on to the next wine. No harm, no foul. I recommend keeping track of what you've had. Vivino is a great app that's free on your phone if you want to keep track of wines.
Cool.
Some people take photos. Sometimes I will occasionally steam the label off a bottle, paste it into a notebook, and write what it was, where I bought it, how much I paid, what I had it with, and would I drink it again. So then if you're like, what was that wine that I got at Memorial Day weekend that was so good? You remember that. So that's all you need to do to become somebody who's into wine. Cheers.
Jim,
God.
there's a whole parallel conversation going on in the chat where chat is absolutely fucking roasting Daisy for being like, oh, I taste vinegar. And the chat's like, how long have you had is that a new bottle, Daisy? How long is it open? And Daisy's like, it's been open technically a weekish, but I bottled it with the cork. And then people are like, Daisy, no wonder it smells like vinegar. And then Death Lord is saying at Olive Garden we didn't keep a white open past 2 days.
Okay,
What?
okay.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing, Daisy.
So we had a 48-hour rule when I worked at Oliver.
God.
But here's what I'm going to say. Everybody in the chat, listen up.
Nasty wine now.
I need to see your listening ears. I'm going to talk to you like you're preschoolers.
Oh my god. Okay.
So, Daisy is like Pigpen in the Peanuts with her wine, and you are Pigpen shaming her for her Pigpen wine habits.
They're shaming me for my wine. How dare you?
I will.
Pigpen wine.
Look. I don't have a.
I'm gonna keep drinking this, and I'm like, keep drinking it till it's undrinkable.
That's fine. Look, I go back and forth on shaming them all the time, but like, if the chat's doing it, I want to join. I want to join. I want to join if the chat is.
This is a safe space.
Look, this is
a brave space.
Look, I'm telling you, if you're not roasting me, I do not believe you are telling me the truth.
This is how the chat shows love to their favorite co-host, Daisy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like my understanding of friend relationships in the United Kingdom and Ireland, which is if you're not making the other person cry, you're really not.
You're not taking the piss, as they say.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's get down to it.
Let's get down to actual interview. I will keep all that in because that was very informative. But let's get down to actual interview questions. Daisy, do you want to read
your Patreon?
I mean, we could.
Nah, we're keeping.
Nah, keep that. That shit can be free. That was very good. Daisy, you want to do the honors this time?
I would love to do the honors.
Redeem yourself.
So Jim, chat, whomever is listening at home who may or may not be logged in and participating in the chat at this given moment.
Hello, everyone who watches on the weekends when these drop on YouTube. I know there's
we know some people
dedicated following.
Jenny Williams.
Jenny Williams, I need to talk to you at some point. Call me. I'm serious.
Hey, Jenny Williams, come on the show and call Jen.
Come on the show. You see myself, Daisy, and Dom on the show all the time. You see your faces. It's great. We do laughs. We play games.
We do laughs.
We do laughs, and we talk to people about very serious folklore-related matters that pertain to their specific interests. But what you don't see is that in order for us to do that, we have a whole team of people who are known lovingly as the interview sleuths, who help us curate questions and do research on every guest that we have on the show. So if you hear something that you think is funny, if Jim laughs at something, if Jim is like, that's a funny question, or if you yourself are like, wow, I was thinking the exact same thing, but the sleuths already thought of it. Don't thank me and Dom. Thank the beautiful, wonderful, intelligent, detailed.
I like that one.
I don't know. I want to say like prolific, well known in our community, influential sleuths. Don't thank me and Dom. Thank them.
And with that, Jim, let's get into your first question. And it's
This is how we do it. I'm ready.
This is how sleuths do it.
Okay, Jim, can you describe for us your role in the historical marker program at the KHS and why creating these kinds of passive engagement is important for communities?
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like I'm back in my job interview. So,
they only get easier from here. They only get easier from here.
I hope so. This Folkwise live stream, it occurs to me I'm still in my 6-month probationary period at KHS. So the fact that I just did a shot of my Lord on camera is gonna, work out great for me. Anyway,
Jim, you didn't have to say that because that wouldn't have been part of the clipped video later. Anyway,
it's fine. It
was a half hour ago.
With cool people, we're good. So, in my work at KHS, the biggest program that I'm in charge of is the entire state of Kentucky's historical marker program. I'm responsible for 2,300 historical markers across the state.
So many.
That's so many, as I realize every day when I get new reports that somebody has accidentally backed a moving truck into one, or, somebody has they're like, it was there yesterday, it's gone now. So yes, I'm responsible for maintaining the ones that exist and helping to get new ones put out there to help people understand Kentucky's history at a very local level. And Dom, give me the short version of the question again. I want to make sure I answer it directly.
What do you do there, and why is creating passive engagement like this important for the communities you serve?
I mean, I think a lot of people always assume history is something that happens somewhere else. And I think in Kentucky, it's really cool for people to understand, oh, there were larger events that were impacting people that happened here and affected people like me. And one of the things, I'm a 20th century historian by training. God bless the 19th century, not always my favorite century to study, never has been. I'm glad there are people who really vibe over it, but like, I would love to see us do more with 20th century history because I think there's some really cool stories to be told. And in particular, one of the objectives of the program that I'm operating now is to tell stories that have not traditionally been told. So KHS started doing its historical marker program around 1949. And as you would expect, a lot of the stories that we tell on the markers that were put up from that era and the few decades after tend to be political history, military history, the history of old dead white guys. And one of the cool things is that my office is working on a lot of narratives now that will go up on historical markers in the next year that look at things like LGBTQ history, the history of the African American community in Kentucky from like lots of different angles. I'm really excited about the markers that we're putting up on that topic. I'm trying to think what else I've been working on lately. I'm rewriting several of the markers. I always tell people history is a narrative that's constantly evolving. So if it's a marker that's put up in 1958, maybe we have new scholarship that's going to inform that in a better way. But yeah, I have been out in public walking down the street, and in Frankfort, Kentucky, where I live, there are historical markers literally on almost every block downtown. And it's interesting for me to stand and watch members of the public interacting with them and kind of reading and discussing them. And I'm like, they don't know I'm the guy who's responsible for that. And that's really good because maybe it's leaning and they'd be like, somebody should really fix that. And I'm like, I'm off the clock. So
someone
anyway,
please make the meme of the people at the party, but it's Jim's face being like, they don't know I'm the guy who does the markers.
Well, I have seen markers before that just don't, like, you know, they're decades old and they're kind of faded or they're leaning or the post is collapsing. And actually, Eleanor Haskin Wagner, who is known to several people in this community, told me not too long ago, she's like, have you seen the one over on Wilkinson Boulevard? That thing's bent down to the ground. And I was like, dang it. So I drove over there. This is here in Frankfort. And I, you know, it's a whole process. I'm learning a lot about state government bureaucracy and all the paperwork and all the phone calls and stuff like that. And then you never really know who's going to call you or email you on any given day. So I do a lot of constituent services and helping people understand that they can't just point and say, I want a marker right there and I'm going to make it happen in a 1 week span. That's not how it works. But I work with some really cool people, both within KHS and the members of the public who reach out to me. So yeah, it's been an interesting and an exciting job.
That's really cool, Jim. You know, can't wait to hear your thoughts after your probation period. No, I think it's a real cool gig, and I'm glad that you're kind of combining both of your full-time and part-time, or however you phrased it, fields in a cool way. Next question is kind of moving from the Kentucky Historical Society to the Kentucky Governor's Program. But what are some of the more innovative teaching methods you used in your work at the Kentucky Governor's Program?
So a lot of people are kind of surprised to hear that Kentucky has one of the oldest and definitely the largest state governor's school in the nation. And governor's schools come in many different shapes and sizes and formats. In Kentucky, it's a 5-week program for roughly 1,000 gifted and talented rising high school seniors from all over the state. It's free for them to attend. It happens on 3 different college campuses every summer. And it's kind of like leadership and academic training to get them ready to be the next generation of civic and economic leaders in Kentucky. That's the tagline. But during the years that I taught for them from 2013 up through this past summer, I was political science faculty and forensic science faculty, but I was also told you can also teach another class on whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
And that really freed me up to do some weird classes through the years. To give you one example, in 2019, I taught a class on the history and culture of the American high school teenager from the 40s through the present as seen through the lens of high school prom culture. And that was a rip-roaring wild time. In 2021, I played GSP Game of Thrones edition, where I had my students, I taught a course on monarchies through the ages and had my students form 5 warring families that basically had, it was wild. They all had titles and like ranks and were jockeying to be, like the reigning monarch. And the best part is, from the get-go, I instituted a matriarchal and matrilineal system so the women in the room were in power, and the guys were like, "This is so unfair. Why are we just like people to be traded away in a marriage alliance?" And I'm like, "Welcome to the past."
Wow, you did
I love how you did Game of
it.
Thrones, but everyone was Dorne.
Yeah, and exactly. And I brought in the fight choreographer from Louisville Shakespeare Company,
Nice.
who taught them sword fighting. They learned proper English tea etiquette, and the whole point of the class was to deconstruct social inequality and be like, why is this a thing? And why do we put some people up on pedestals and be like, oh, you're better because of how you were born? And to kind of like explode that notion and question power structures in our society. So that was a good time. One of my favorite classes that I ever did, though, was in 2018. It was when I was based at Northern Kentucky University, just south of Cincinnati. And I taught
let's go Norse.
Let's go Norse. I taught a course called One Nation Underground, and it was all about 1960s Cold War civil defense. So, like nuclear weapons and fallout shelters and stuff like that. And my students knew from day one that at one point during the program, I would launch a simulated Soviet nuclear attack, and they better be ready. So we built a replica functioning Cold War nuclear fallout shelter along early 60s guidelines, and my students were in charge. They had to staff everything. They had to plan it out according to like historically accurate sources. So like I have a collection of Cold War information, like pamphlets and stuff like that. So like facts about Fallout.
Facts about Fallout. Everyone you know who plays it, including Daisy.
Survival, stuff like this. And then they had to figure out what the rations were going to be, how much water we needed to load in. We had a medical team. And we took a 4-person dorm suite. We like blocked out the windows so it was dark in there. And I was the only one who knew when the attack was going to happen. And when my students found out, they all had to grab like their bug out bags, which admittedly is a little anachronistic, but go with it.
Oh, okay.
And race to the bunker. And then if they weren't there was an honest to goodness countdown. And if they weren't in time, they were irradiated and had radiation sickness.
Yo, hey, yo.
Treated.
I would love that to be the start right before I started playing Fallout.
Fallout, yeah.
I mean, we were pretty much playing Fallout, and we spent
so cool.
2 days underground. It was me, my teaching assistant, and 19 high schoolers.
Just somewhere in fucking Alexandria, Kentucky?
Yeah, like in this 4-room dorm suite with 21 people in it.
Holy shit.
And like so they weren't just sitting there killing time. I actually created these simulation experiences within it. So like every 3 to 4 hours, we would get a radio broadcast about some scenario, like and actually what they had to do. So like the radio broadcast, would give them kind of like, you need to debate what are you going to do about this. So like at one point, some people try to push their way into the bunker, and they're like, we're dying out here. And my students had to decide, were they, and actual colleagues of mine, be actors to do this. So they're like, are you going to let them in and give these people your rations? And they're like, no, we're slamming the door, we're pushing them out, they can die.
Holy shit!
Oh my god!
Wow, Kentucky savage out there.
Damn,
Holy shit!
Kentucky,
The
damn.
radio broadcast would be like, we had a U.S. Army general declaring martial law. We had somebody playing the Secretary of Commerce and being incompetent at it, like, charge, I'm president, everybody but me is dead. I'm preserve the Constitution, but like, hey, we should really protect the rich folks, right? We had somebody claiming they were a Soviet general and that there were Red Army troops marching in the streets. And then we had somebody who was based on the dude from The Big Lebowski, who was playing this kind of like quasi-anarchist, smoke 'em if you got 'em, because we're all on our way out. And my students had to debate which scenario was most plausible and which one were they going to go along with. And I hate to say it, but they chose the military coup.
Oh no!
No!
Oh my god!
Like, I mean, they still have law and order, and I'm just there in the corner like...
Oh my god. I do remember in high school a project I had where we had to like... that my instructor assigned us to like dictate a percentage of blame to various communities involved in the Holocaust. And a lot of my class sort of was relativistic.
Yeah, fucking how many? That was like a thing. That was like a thing when we were kids. Yeah,
that was like a thing. And a lot of the groups were very relativistic, where like everybody got a little bit of blame, and including the Jews, like, which is why.
Yeah, that's why you don't do that. That's why people don't do that anymore.
Yes.
Tell this teacher you need to reevaluate your lesson plan.
Exactly.
What was
exactly.
interesting is, but she was Jewish. That was the other interesting thing. And she was like, at the end of the class, I could tell she was like, "Oh my god, everyone is relativistic. They didn't understand like that there are maybe universal bad truths because everyone was stuck on like, well, logically, I don't know what they think. Maybe in their community it's fine, you know." And like, it was so bad. Like,
no, bad, wrong.
I remember that being very bad.
For military conscription and like a suspension of their civil liberties, and I was just like,
wow.
Yeah, but I will say, like, that part aside, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, what did you think of our fine play?
What'd you think of the play? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so because I had picked up through the years, so like civil defense gear, I had students who were wearing like civil defense armbands, like the leaders and stuff like that. This is a civil defense like hat.
Wow.
That would have been worn.
Wow.
And then,
oh my god.
Let's see if I can find it. I think it's back here. Oh, this is my family radiation measurement kit. This is authentic.
Wow.
This thing right here, this little yellow contraption, is a gamma radiation detector.
Nice.
And if I had
That's how they
2D
track the
batteries, and threw it in there, that thing would still work. Now, whether it's accurate after, 60 years? But getting my students to work... Oh, and that right there, that camera, is a vintage 1957 Kodak Brownie Hawkeye camera.
Nice.
I trained one of my students to be our official photographer, and she chronicled the entire thing using a vintage camera.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
And then, when they re-emerged after the 2 days underground, we spent the rest of the summer pretending that we lived in a post-apocalyptic hellscape, and they had to rebuild society. So.
Fallout, yeah, Fallout 4.
Just totally.
Daisy shared their story. Can I give an anecdote about what your students joining the coup reminds me of?
Do tell.
Do you know the video game series Hearts of Iron? Like the World War II real-time strategy game?
Sounds great.
The latest one has
Wolfenstein.
Well, we could be playing that actually. The latest one has a mode called Kaiserreich, where it's World War II if the Germans win World War I. And instead of the Spanish Civil War, it's the Second American Civil War. And all I'm saying is your students all chose the Douglas MacArthur faction, which is the worst faction to be on in the Second American Civil War.
Yikes! Yeah.
Sounds right.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I remember one of my students saying, and this is not, I'm not making this up because this kid was very politically active, and he goes, Jim, on the outside, I actually am a member of the American Civil Liberties Union, but I'm going to go with the military coup.
No!
So.
Yeah, the factions you can join in that game. You can join MacArthur's coup. You can what's the days that shocked the world? What's that guy's name? Warren Beatty in the movie Reds. You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen it. I'm
Okay,
so
you
sorry.
can be the American journalist who chronicled the Russian Revolution. You can join his syndicalist states of America in Chicago. You can join Huey Long's kingdom that he sets up out of New Orleans, or you can be the Western United States of America out of San Francisco. Those are like the 4 factions.
Sounds very The Man in the High Castle.
It kind of is. Damn, we might fire that up with like the half hour we got left. But the next question we got. Yeah, next question for you, Jim. You kind of touched on this earlier when you gave us the 5 S's, but what's one skill you learned from working in the wine industry that you now use in your everyday life?
I actually got asked this question in a staff meeting last week.
Oops.
And, no, I'm glad you asked, and
No way! Wild.
I'm gonna lead with God bless him to kind of soften the impact. But I'm gonna say one of the things that I've learned in this job, being responsible for the state's historical marker program, like, you always hear people be like, nobody cares about history anymore. That is not my experience. People care a lot about history. And most of the people are coming at it with like really pure motives and just helping them to understand state government and how it works and how it doesn't work is a big part of my job. There's a certain tiny subset of people who are very high maintenance and require a little kind of coaxing to move them in certain directions.
Mm-hmm.
Say, dealing with folks in the wine industry who have been a little high maintenance, that prepared me well for working with that. And again, that's a teeny tiny subset.
Sure.
And I work with really cool people. But yeah, I will say one of the reasons I was hired was because even though I have this like academic background, I've spent a fair amount of time working with the public.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself when I enter into an interaction with somebody, I'm like, what brought them here? What are they looking for? And people reach out to me, like they find my contact information on the website and they reach out to me even about stuff that I'm not responsible for. And I never want to tell somebody no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if I'm not the right fit and I can't answer the question, I'm always like, what's the smallest usable piece of information that I can give them that makes them feel like we move the ball forward together? So that's a big part of my job, and it's emotional labor. And I'll be honest and say there are times where it hits Friday afternoon and I'm like, I'm done with people points today, for the week. I'm out of people points. I can't do this. But like, it is a cool job, and yeah, it's exciting, and it's one of those things. Hopefully when I die many decades from now and I'm being eulogized, people will be like, did you know he was once responsible for 2,300 historical markers across the state?
That's so many.
Just kind of thought he did wine.
Texas has more. So
God
bless
sense.
Texas.
That makes sense. God bless Christina and Charlie, friends of the show. Daisy, you want to ask the last serious question? Because I know this is like this already kind of came up.
I would love to ask this question. So this gets a little bit deeper into wine sort of culture, stereotypes that you've been involved with, and feel free to absolutely plug the paper that you wrote about wine moms after this. But what can wine mom stereotypes teach us about motherhood and reclaimed time in the 21st century?
Damn, that's a great question.
Thank you,
wow,
Sleuth.
Thanks, Sleuth.
Thanks for teeing this one up. So I am #blessed that I wrote an article for New Directions in Folklore back in 2020, and I want to give a shout out to John Price, Jared Schmidt, Kim Stryker, who dragged me kicking and screaming across the editing finish line. And if they're in the chat right now, they're probably howling, but like that was a hard article to write.
Yeah.
I am not a parent. I am not a middle-aged, middle-class, suburban white woman. So kind of this target demographic of a lot of wine marketing. And anyway, I wrote an article for New Directions in Folklore back in 2020 called, what is it, Wine Mommies? Or Mommy Juice.
It's called Mommy Juice. It's called Mommy Juice.
Yeah, so it was basically looking at internet memes and the dark humor surrounding the consumption of alcohol by this specific demographic and how that internet humor was being used to mask substance use disorders related to alcohol within this demographic. And in particular, like, again, I'm reading a lot of mommy blogs as I'm doing this, a lot of parenting material, and I'm also like just kind of prowling the internet, seeing what comes up about these various memes. And just to give you some idea, it's like, I think of one where Winnie the Pooh and Piglet are sitting there on a log, and one of them's like, what are we going to do today? And Piglet's like, same thing we do every day, smash a bottle of wine, something like that. And anyway, so a lot of these people who are targeted to in the wine marketing like world are people who do not consider themselves problem drinkers, but you often found that there were these mothers who were having a glass of wine if they went out to lunch with friends, another glass of wine when they got home later that afternoon. Maybe they're cooking dinner and they have another glass of wine with dinner, and then once the kids are in bed, they have a fourth glass of wine. Well, they've just knocked out in one day an entire bottle of wine. And if you look at the scientific literature about alcohol consumption, that is considered problematic drinking. And it's not healthy by all the various metrics that you look at. And long story short, as I'm reading all these blogs and the discourses surrounding them, people are starting to say, oh, the reason I thought it was okay for me to be drinking this much as a mom is because it was normalized, and these memes fed into that. And once I started noticing it, I realized, oh, this isn't okay, and it's not okay for me to make other people think it's okay either. I will say, so it was a really cool article to write. I like that it's gone on in ways I couldn't have expected. So it's been downloaded quite a bit. People have assigned it in courses at universities that I have no affiliation with. It's been picked up by medical professionals in Australia writing in medical literature. And my favorite thing, and I want this quoted in that eulogy when I die.
Okay, update the eulogy, chat.
Yes, Jim Seaver's Wine Mommy article is now quoted in the footnotes underneath the Wikipedia page for woman shouting at cat.
No way!
I am not kidding. Yes, I was like, I have made it. Oh my god! I literally screamed that shit and sent it out to my entire family, and I was like, I could have been a medical doctor, but no, I made this instead. How great is that? And then my mom dabbed at her eyes with a small handkerchief and was like, well, at least I had two other children. It turned out okay.
Can I read it? I found it.
You found it? Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So, well, hold on. Let me see where it actually gets quoted.
While Dom is finding this, I will say New Directions in Folklore, March 2020. Go and download it because I am vain. So about once every 4 months or so, I go to see how recently it's been downloaded and by how many people. And not to brag towards the other people who were in that special issue on alcohol, but I'm kind of beating you in the metrics. I just want to beat you more. So...
The sentence says occasionally other memes are incorporated, footnote 2, footnote 5, or characters in the meme are replaced with others, and then footnote 6, which is Seaver James B. 1 April 2020. Mommy Juice, New Directions in Folklore 17. Oh, you got your ISSN number. Wow. Damn. Who do you okay, have you figured out who edited that
Oh, I don't know who did it. I just know that this is better than tenure.
This is also fascinating because, well, I mean, we don't need to get too into statistics here, but in December of last year, March 2022, and September 2022, you've had a huge spike in each of those 3 months compared to any other month in terms of downloads.
Really?
What is with that? Is that like a holiday thing?
I haven't checked it in the past few months. I will say this.
That's
People
so
don't write,
interesting.
people don't call. I keep seeing literature, like popular press about drinking habits related to this demographic. And I'm like, guys, I'm out there and my number's available. Like, just call me. I would give you a pithy quote for your New York Times article.
Yeah, they don't want to do that though. That's too much liability, Jim. You might say something that is
I
not.
might drop too many truth bombs.
Yeah, you might drop too many. They don't want that. They want what got published.
I will say, in all seriousness, one of the main. I was worried about like pushback. I was worried that people, especially people who are parents, would be like, "Dude, you missed the mark here." Because again, I don't have any kids, and like. Knock on wood, so far that hasn't happened. People who have read it have been like, no, this makes sense, and you kind of described what I've been seeing. And people who hadn't seen it before are paying attention to it more now. So the next time you're at a winery, see if they're selling that kind of merch that's like, I hope someday I can drink with my kids instead of because of them. Ha ha. Stuff like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's so interesting. I mean, when we came up with this question, there was definitely like a conversation that happened around it because it's on the surface, right? Like mommy juice, like it seems like such a funny piece because we're all familiar with the wine. We're wine aunts, wine moms. It's funny. And then when we sit and think about it, we were like, oh yeah, like this could be a big deal. Like this is not something that should be so quick to just like move on. And I'm sure that you've had in your experience at the winery, like for everything from bachelorette parties to like girls getaways to whatever, just being an unending amount of kind of, I guess when we were thinking of reclaimed time, there's like an element of like that space only exists in the context of physically traveling to winery to escape motherhood or parenthood or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that I think you really touch on in this, in addition to the relationship between alcoholism.
And just looking at the dialogue, well, the way that different alcoholic beverages were approached, if somebody was drinking the same amount of alcohol during the day, but it was shots of tequila and they were a mother with young children at home, people would be like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
But if you're drinking wine, they're like, Brenda just loves her Chardonnay.
Yeah, right. And it just becomes allowable all of a sudden. It's so fascinating.
And the other thing that was a challenge when I was writing that article, I did not want to condemn these women. The thing that I wanted to say was these parents in general. I wanted to say our society is not doing enough to support parents, especially parents of young children.
Mm-hmm.
It's not providing like childcare options, the like mental health care that is needed, the workplace flexibility, all these different things that are needed. So I wanted to come at it from a place of compassion and be like, alcohol is not helping, but I understand why people are turning to it for a coping mechanism. Sure. I know we're being kind of like silly here, but like, yeah, in terms of that article, I was trying so hard to find the right tone with it, and knock on wood, so far I think I got close to what I was looking for, and I've gotten good feedback.
We dropped the link for people to download it so we can continue the downloads.
Get that bump going. Yeah.
My ego is very fragile, and I need to see that people are giving it as a holiday gift.
Yes. Jim, are you ready for a bunch of funsy questions?
Hit me with them.
Let's get
John,
into
With
it.
your best shot, fire away.
Fire away.
Just
Okay.
get that up. Nobody else has ever said that.
So this first one, Jim, sell the chat on why we should unironically appreciate the cultural contributions of Lawrence Welk.
Oh my! You just hit like my CBS guilty pleasure. I don't know who said that. God bless. So I am a fan of the Lawrence Welk show. I say that unapologetically. All my haters can head for the exits because I'm just going to be over here chilling to the sweet tones of the Lennon Sisters in 1958 singing, I don't know, Oh Johnny O. Look it up. It's great. Lennon Sisters, Lennon, Oh Johnny O. Black and white, 1950, late 50s. Anyway, so the Lawrence Welk show, for those of you who are new to it, was on the air from the mid-50s up through about 1982, and it was this dude from North Dakota who played the accordion, had a traveling band, and in the 40s or 50s settles in Southern California, and by the mid-50s launches this national show where he is taking all of the popular hits of like the previous decades and turning them into a very like middle-class, middle-brow, hanging out on Saturday night with your grandparents type thing.
Aw. It's
Like
real
singing.
buttery popcorn with your grandparents kind of show.
Singing, bright
Absolutely.
costumes. If you can drop one link in the chat that will burn people's faces off.
Do
I
you
need
want
you to
a
search.
live react to it?
I've
It's
seen
only
it,
like
so
2
like,
minutes.
well, like
We
I would say
haven't.
just
Yeah.
drop it in the chat for people to watch at home on their own. Just search for the Lawrence Welk show cover of the early 1970s hit "One Toke Over the Line." Now here's the background on
Oh
it.
my god.
Okay,
God.
Jim,
Oh my
Jim, I
God.
swear,
know this.
we can,
Okay.
we can put this up and like, you can show this to
Dog
chat right
out.
now. Do you want to do
No,
this?
no,
Put it up. Give us a
stop.
second. What?
Wait. Have we done this on the show before?
Lawrence
Have
Welk?
you?
No, One Toke Over the Line.
Sweet Jesus? One took over the line?
Sitting downtown in a railway station?
Maybe not.
Roll the
I
clip.
feel like
Roll
okay,
the clip.
We're
I
rolling
opened
clip.
up
Jim,
the-
hit
I
view
opened up
stream
the
if you
video
haven't yet.
and I was like,
You're remembering drunk PowerPoint. You
maybe-
might be remembering my
Oh!
drunk PowerPoint birthday.
You're right. Oh my god. Death Morris is right. I'm remembering drunk PowerPoint for your birthday. Okay, that's right.
Beautiful bean
Alright.
footage.
Roll
Okay.
that beautiful
No.
champagne music.
Well,
Let's go.
roll that sweet footage. Let's go.
Jim, tell me
Oh
to
my
pause
God.
whenever you want.
Very much. Now here's an attractive couple.
So
Gail
pause
Farrell
real
from
quick
Durango.
for me. So the context is executives at the ABC network were like, hey, Lawrence Welk, you are the quintessence of squaredom.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to sing a song that's really going to click with the youths. Take this modern hit about smoking weed in a train station. Well, they didn't say that part. I don't think Lawrence Welk fully understood what toking means.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, no
And
way.
I'm not sure
No
anybody
way.
else on the show wanted to tell him what it meant. And that's how we end up with this. Hit it.
Well, and also, have you seen Ken Burns' country music? Have you seen the documentary?
Yes.
Same thing happened to fucking Mother Maybelle Carter near the end of her life. She was
Yes.
like, I want to cover that One Toke Over
Yes.
the Line song. And they're like, what do you think that is? And she's like, it's Sweet Jesus. It's a prayer. And they're like, no.
No,
Okay.
no.
Let's go.
It's a him.
Dick Dale from Algona, Iowa. Excuse me. Let's listen to Gail and Dale. And one
Gail
of
and
the newer
Dale.
songs.
I love it.
Here for it.
One toke over the line, sweet Jesus, one toke over the line. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one toke over the line. Waiting for the train that goes home, sweet Mary, hoping that the train is on time. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one toke over the line. Who do you love? I hope it's me. I've been changing, as you can plainly see. I felt the joy and learned about the pain
That my mama said.
If I should choose to make a part of me, would surely strike me dead.
Strike me dead.
Now I'm one toke
over the line, sweet Jesus, one toke over the line.
So
Sitting
good.
downtown in a railway station, one toke over the
Can I ask a serious question about this?
Go for it.
So what is it that you love about this song in particular? Is it like the laundering of like counterculture into like your grandparents' culture?
Like I will admit there's an element of camp to
Yes.
the Lawrence Welk show
Yes.
that I'm here for, but it's also good for me as somebody who is a historian of the mid-20th century to kind of tap into what your parent or your grandparents' generation wasn't do at that time. Because everybody's like, ooh, it's the 60s, flower children and like beads and wavy hair and stuff. I'm like, no. Like there were people who were watching this stuff. This resonated with them more than like hippie rock coming out of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been a good way for me to kind of pick up. And I will say this, as a folklorist as well, there are folk songs that have been put through the Lawrence Welk treatment that then end up on this show. And that was my first exposure to them.
Sure.
And that led me to go track down the original.
Sure. Can we? What's like a very? I know that like one took over the line. Lawrence Welk, WTF is like a very it's funny, but it's like an outlier for people, for the Zoomers out here who might only know Lawrence Welk from that SNL sketch. Like what's a very like Days? What's a very representative Lawrence Welk bit we can look up?
Gosh, you may not be able to find it, but in the alcohol course that I taught at Indiana University from 2012 to 2018.
Was that a Collins?
Yeah, I taught a Collins course called American Spirits, the History and Culture of Alcohol
Perfect name.
in the United States. And when I would unpack foodways theory for them, I would do it through the lens of mid-20th century America's obsession with tiki culture. And I would show them a
Oh my
clip.
god, that makes so much sense.
That's right.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, and I'll click.
Let's look for it. Let's look for it. What is it?
Jim, you're a genius.
I know. Well, thank you. Anna thinks I'm great too. I would show a clip from Lawrence Welk Goes to Hawaii
Oh.
and have my students analyze it. I think it may have been pulled down, but the song was Tiny Bubbles.
Oh,
Tiny
man, there's
Bubbles.
I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing this like hour-long documentary or the show, the episode of the show.
The full up.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
seeing the
is it
full
Don?
up.
Is it Don Ho sings Tiny Bubbles?
I don't think this was it, but like,
Is
it's
it?
fine.
Is it Dick Dale and Gail?
Dick and Gail, right?
I don't think it. I think the clip has been pulled down, unfortunately.
Damn.
But you're welcome to click one of those. But my students would have to analyze what about this is mid-20th century American tiki culture, and they'd be like, oh, it's not actually quote unquote. Well, we would debate authenticity. So, what is authentic Polynesian culture or Caribbean culture?
Do you know where it shows up around in the video or
Not
what?
a damn clue.
Okay.
Do you know what they're wearing? It looks like very
Yeah,
distinct.
I mean, they're wearing like these big floral this shit. Look at that.
Yeah, right.
And if you speak to people who are native Polynesian, native Hawaiian, native Caribbean, they're going to look at this and be like, that's not my culture. This is mid-20th century white
like
capitalist
white vacation
consumerism.
culture.
Oh,
yeah.
Chad is telling us 1740.
Yeah. Wow, Death Florist. Amazing.
Dude, you're such a good mod, Death Lorist.
Yeah, honestly.
Is that
Is it
Chad
this?
Fooderbaugh?
I wish.
Chad,
Oh
thanks
my
for
God.
watching.
No, it's
The clip that I
Caitlin. It's
showed was
Caitlin.
different, but this
Okay.
Okay, so
Chad
Dale
Fooderbaugh could
and
be Dale's
Gail
cousin.
were not actually a couple.
No, how
but
dare you.
Lawrence Welk made them perform together, pretending like they sort of were.
Yeah, like Daisy's saying, like the only
Fascinating.
stuff I know about Lawrence Welk is all done with the Fred Armisen's impression. You know, it's like, Bobby, when you
Right,
ask Sissy
right.
to marry her, she's ready. You know?
This is
Yeah,
embarrassing to admit, and this is probably worse than taking a shot of Malord on camera. I can literally watch the preview at the beginning of a Lawrence Welk show airing on CBS or PBS on Saturdays, and give you within a 1 to 2 year range what year that episode
Holy
aired.
fuck, Jim! That's
I
incredible.
know trivia
Jim.
about this show that goes deep into the weeds, and I'm sorry that this is what my brain capacity is filled up with, because I'm like, I could relearn calculus, and this is what I'm doing.
I mean, like, if someone's brain's got to do it, I'm glad it's yours.
That's true.
Like, this is what, like, people don't understand. We need history brains so that somebody like you can come along and fill in all the gaps for people.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
so
trying.
fascinating. Like, that's why folklore is important. That's why humanities is important. That's why people with special interests in particular eras is important. Like, that is so cool.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I just
This
love like
So fascinating. And they're like matching outfits. It's interesting. I mean, I'm sure that's like for showbiz or whatever, but
well,
like,
and this
and
whole
then
idea.
the mountain in the background, right? Like, the background is fast. Anyway, I've read some
What does
interesting
it
books on like
mean?
third space and fourth world like kind of like tourist space, which is the space of like where you have no place, but rather you are constantly traveling between places because you can afford to be beyond
Damn.
first world, second
Yeah.
world, third world,
That's
into a
Hawaii.
fourth world,
Yeah.
which is
Being
Hawaii.
able to
Which is
travel
But honestly,
across
that's
the ocean
Southwest
on an
Florida. That's
airliner.
Southwest Florida too.
It's Southwest
I'm-
Florida, it's Hawaii, it's the Caribbean, it's a lot of island places. It's island cultures, which is so interesting also, as though like nobody ever lived there, as though it was unoccupied, or as though there weren't rich traditions that existed there beyond this kind of like
Oh, there's our boy.
capitalist
There's our boy
vacation
Lawrence.
leisure time frame. Like what is this even? Like, this is not
Next
It's
week,
not
I
Hawaii,
have
it's
an idea
Florida.
that like a hot take that could meld off a few faces.
Do it. No, this is the time for hot takes.
Without the world depicted in Lawrence Welk Goes to Hawaii, there would be no White Lotus on HBO.
Damn.
Whoa.
Yes.
See, I haven't seen White Lotus yet, so what I was thinking of was Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh,
Never seen
sure.
it.
Oh, but like the only reason like that movie is set in Hawaii is because Lawrence Welk goes to Hawaii. It could be
Yeah.
Miami,
Oh,
but
I will rubber stamp that.
no,
Yeah.
that I think that movie. I don't know if it holds up, but I thought it was
I
pretty
have
funny at the
toyed
time.
with the idea of driving to North Dakota just to visit the Lawrence Welk boyhood home, which is a state
And
shrine now.
didn't he grow up in like a German-speaking enclave in North Dakota?
He did. His family, as I understand it, was like a German-speaking Ukrainian family that immigrated in the late 1800s.
Oh, were they
He
Catholic?
grew up-
Were they Catholic Ukrainians who spoke German?
I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah, but
yeah, that
like
makes sense.
ethnic Germans, and so he grows up speaking German, and that's why he was always very self-conscious about his accent. So when you hear him, he's like, "Thank you,
Well,
and now
here-
Bobby and Aziz, you're gonna come out and do a little polka dancing."
No,
And-
I paused it here so we could hear him speak because we haven't heard
Go
him
for
speak
it.
yet.
Hit
Yeah.
it.
a wonderful young dance couple, Bobby and Sissy.
Bobby and Sissy!
The title of the song describes these beautiful islands, paradise.
Oh god. Oh, the dancing features were the worst.
The dancing is what I
my
remember
God.
from the show. Oh, look at those white slacks.
Oh, Bobby. Okay, so Bobby in the White Slacks was a Mouseketeer, an original
You're
Mickey
shitting
Mouse
me.
Club Mouseketeer.
I gotta say, we are going a little off the rails on the
No,
interview.
no,
but,
it's
like,
it's
we can
Jim's
circle back to
episode.
this.
It's supposed to go off the rails.
Okay, that's true, that's true.
Here. I'm here.
We're gonna
I'm
have
doing
to-
it for the lights, y'all.
That's
Like and
true,
subscribe.
that's true. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Okay.
Bits for the bit god.
Again, I'm gonna
This
get
is
an email
so-
at 9 a.m. tomorrow from my employer. Like, it's been real fun, Jim.
Yeah, oh my god, you will not.
Your
But like
Lawrence
the other,
Welk fandom is highly
But what you're-
problematic.
but what you're bringing to light though, yeah, is exactly that like kind of layered power imposition
Yeah.
on like what a culture is, what it means to vacation, what it means to relax and have leisure time, which is reserved for a certain type of person that is
Oh, Sissy, that move kind of
is
slaps, Sissy.
supposedly achievable. or
Oh, Bobby,
theoretically
let's go. Bobby and
achievable.
Sissy, let's go. Sorry.
Well, and
Yeah.
Daisy, looking at this episode,
Yeah,
when
this
you
is so
see
interesting.
when you see Hawaiians there, they are prop pieces
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
for a
Yeah.
mainland U.S. audience.
Yeah, like
I'm trying to be
nobody's
this guy.
just, like,
I'm trying to be
hanging
this
out.
guy.
It's so- I was just gonna say that's good. That one guy. But yeah, right. Like this is like tourists watching tourists participate in a
Oh man,
fabricated
how many levels of
notion.
tourist gaze are you on right now, bruh?
Bro, my dream brain is off the.
Bro, I'm a tourist
right now.
watching a tourist. I'm a tourist watching Bobby
Oh
and
my-
Sissy. That's the
oh
level
my
of tourist
God.
brain I'm on.
That's what the Lawrence Welk show is. You can't afford tourism, but you're getting tourism
One
propaganda.
hashtag.
The propaganda is telling you that
And
you
maybe not
can't
even
invest
tourism. If they're normally in the studio, I'm getting like tourism for like a certain kind of upper middle class, like champagne and ballroom culture.
You're getting fourth world propaganda.
I'm getting fourth world propaganda for the post-war middle class.
Can I coin a hashtag right now?
Do it.
Fourth
Hashtag
world propaganda.
Wait.
Gaze.
Welk Gaze?
The Welk Gaze.
Welk Gaze. Okay,
Honestly.
Daisy, Nightbot.
Nightbot.
Let's make Welk
go.
Gaze a command.
I got it.
And then how many levels of gaze are you on, bro? Wow, damn. Let's
I did not think this is where the interview was going to.
I hope-
I'm here for it.
Jim, I hoped it
really-
would. I hoped it would.
Oh,
Oh god, what's the next question, Daisy? I don't even remember.
okay, your next question, Jim.
Yes.
This is completely unrelated to any of that.
Oh, this is a good question.
Tell us what the hell a Tidewater strumpet is. This is something that you said to name Caroline's wine in our video.
Yeah,
So
so
carry on.
Caroline Miller invited me over before I moved out of Bloomington, Indiana, to help her with her, I believe it was her first winemaking foray.
Yep.
And I was there to be the color commentary.
It's so
And-
good.
Yeah.
I forget what I said, but I made a reference to a Tidewater strumpet. Facetiously.
I believe she
And-
said, "What should we name this? We should name this wine after me." And you said, "Tidewater Strumpet." And I will never forget Caroline's reaction was, "Oh, Tidewater."
Yeah.
Okay, I'm proud it passed me.
I did. As I understand correctly, that wine never got drank.
Did it explode?
It exploded and flooded their living room.
Exploded.
It happened. Making wine is hard. Like, people used to ask me, hey, do you make your own wine since you're in the wine industry? And I'm like, I get a 50% corporate discount. Why would I do that?
Yeah, honestly.
I did. Christina Downs, another Folkwise guest.
Mhm.
Yes.
She and I
Detective
did make
Crime
wine
Lore,
together, though.
as we call her.
Detective Crime Lore.
Detective Crime Lore.
I like that. She and I made wine together, and it turned out pretty darn well. And I will say that I harvested those grapes myself, and then pressed them with my hands.
Hell yeah.
And Christina was the alchemist who turned it into something beautiful. So.
And what was
Shout
that
out to
called?
Christina.
What did you name that?
I think Christina's the one who came up with the name. So this was a 2020 vintage that was made with grapes that were on the vine during the spring, summer, and early fall of 2020. So I believe she named it Apocalypse Red.
Damn.
Love that.
Love
That's
that.
very cool.
Daisy, you want to ask the next one too?
I think it is only responsible for me to be the one who asks this.
Oh yeah. Keep me away from this question.
Jim, which historical figure has the best ass?
This is, wow. Okay. Wow. Behind your Patreon firewall. So, when was AFS Baltimore?
19.
AFS 2019.
2019, yeah.
We are standing outside the gate of Fort McHenry that I had dragged a bunch of people to against their will because I wanted to see where Francis Scott Key figured out the lyrics for the Star Spangled Banner. And we got there right at closing time, and the gate is closed in front of us, and all we can see through the gate is this statue from the back. And we think it's Francis Scott Key. Turns out it's like Orpheus or some other like random Greco-Roman whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, we start making jokes about the statue's butt. which is very pulchritudious. Is that the word?
Oh.
Are you saying beautiful?
Pulchritudious?
Probably like well formed. It was like hashtag dadass though.
I was gonna say
anyway.
hashtag what is it? Another Latin word, Califrigian.
Okay.
That means I believe that is like a Latin term for having a nice backside.
There you go. So
Yeah.
it became this long running joke among a large group of us that whenever you see a statue, you need to inspect its backside to see if it's appealing. Gender doesn't matter, just kind of weigh in on it. So fast forward to AFS Harrisburg 2021, where several of us end up at the Gettysburg National Park battlefield, which is dotted with all these statues that were put up by various Civil War, like veterans organizations through the decades. And we may or may not have been making judgments about the well-formed derrieres of the various statuary.
God, is this a like a recipe on a blog post? Because I just want you to get through the flavor text and tell me who's got the best dumpy. Is there a winner?
There was a statue at Gettysburg where like an artilleryman holding like the little thing that you ram down the cannon barrel is kind of like God, I can't believe I'm even
God, he's standing.
God. He's got like this kind of no, do I turn around?
Yes.
Obviously.
No, okay. He's got like you can't see my butt, and that's probably for the best. And
Yeah.
I have this like
We'll
shirt
assume.
It's kind of like this sassy kind of contrapposto type thing.
He's got the fucking Instagram.
God,
He's got the Instagram pose.
Yeah, and it's just like he's working it. Good for you.
Let's go.
Being
Can I
surrounded by
get to
live
this?
fire, and
Yes.
you're like strutting your stuff.
Sweet yams.
Christ. This stream is going haywire.
This stream is
Dude, we
going
have one
exactly
more-
how I thought it would go.
We got one more funsy question for you, and then we have a game to play.
All right, and we
scared?
kind of got to this in the mukbang earlier. But Jim, what would you say is the worst mid-century recipe you ever recreated?
The worst one.
Oh my God, I give numerical ratings to the ones that I posted about on Facebook, and I'm trying to remember which one was so bad that I like dry heaved and threw it in the garbage.
I have to imagine it involved eggs.
No, I'm trying. God, there's so many bad ones. The one that I did last Christmas, I will say, was pretty amazing. That one was, it was called California Pie-Fi Salad, and I got it out of a sorority alumni cookbook from like the 1930s. And you serve it.
They're already
It-
experimenting with food, okay? They already don't know how to cook yet.
Jello with Worcestershire sauce and other shit in it, stuffed inside a hollowed out head of cabbage with cocktail shrimp surrounding it. And I made it, and I plated it, and then I drove to the Pi-Phi sorority that was like less than a mile away from where I was living, and stood out in front of the sorority house and tasted it.
No!
That
oh my
was
God.
wretched.
I found it.
Oh,
I have
God.
another question for you. Oh my God. This is a follow-up to that. What percentage of the recipes that you've made have pictures attached to them? Like an actual visual representation or drawing or like detail of how it is meant to look? Because I find it so interesting how little recipes describe visually what it is supposed to look like.
There's a really good explanation for that, and I know this just because I'm a print culture nerd as well, and I owe that to being the grandchild of a commercial printer. But like printing images in the mid-20th century was not cheap, and especially if you wanted a color image. Oh God, did you find the...
Found it, California Pie-Fi Salad.
California Pie-Fi Salad.
Did.
All right, so it's like a story in several parts. So we have this from Lucille Lawson Hall.
Oh my God, pomegranate juice. That's kind of a lot of pomegranate juice.
It is.
Yeah, that was.
Jello, pomegranate
So
juice.
here's Jim's
Yes.
honest
Skeptic,
reaction.
very
Here we got the lemon
skeptic.
Jello.
Oh, anytime I was drinking scotch to get through it. Anytime you see lemon jello in a mid 20th century jello recipe, it has been asked to do the heavy lifting in a way it shouldn't.
Yes.
So lemon jello is a red flag.
We got whiskey.
Okay.
We're drinking
Got
the whiskey.
it.
Okay, here are the
Yes.
ingredients.
Oh my god. Wow.
A lot going on here.
Okay.
At least use Dukes. Okay.
Yeah, thank God
Second
use
kitchen.
Dukes. We've already decided Dukes is the
So gelatin is made from like proteins that are derived from the skins
Yep.
of various slaughtered livestock.
Yep.
The Knox gelatin that I was working with for my beer aspic came from Brazilian cattle.
Okay.
fascinating. Okay.
Dare I? Okay. Beautiful chop.
Oh,
Beautiful
you got
chop
'em all.
going on here.
Look at those. You're doing the most
You're
to make this
doing
as
God's
good
work.
as possible.
You're doing God's
It's a
work. Jim.
journey that I want to
you're-
bring people on against their
This
will.
doesn't look so
See,
bad
this is
right now.
what's so
This is fine.
fascinating.
I would probably, maybe get like maybe
You're
like a
using
broiled
the
salmon.
highest-
I could top a broiled salmon with that mixture or something,
Maybe.
It's like you're using the highest quality ingredients that you can find, which is admirable,
Look at that watercress
And
back
it's-
there.
and it's still
It's
sucks.
so hard to find watercress. Oh my god.
I bet.
it still sucks.
That's
That's what's so fascinating about this whole
Yeah.
venture. Is
yeah.
it really does not matter what type of ingredient you're using.
Oh, it's gonna be
It is
wretched.
Oh, shouts out
genuinely-
to Shitbird. Shouts out to the Shitbird right here. Every day we stray further
oh
from
my
God.
god. Every day, yeah, shouts out to Shipwreck.
Uh,
Every day we do stray further from God.
Okay, before I advance my family watercress story, I already talked in the gameplay portion of tonight's stream about my Poppy Tartaglia, who was at Normandy, and he complained about the watercress and mayonnaise sandwiches that the British fed them the night before Normandy for the rest of his fucking life. He was like, the Limeys made me eat fucking grass. The Limeys made me eat fucking grass.
Grass, no more
Do you
grass.
know the deal with watercress?
What do you
So it's like
mean
more-
the deal?
Watercress was like more popular in the mid 20th century. I don't know why. It has to be grown underwater.
Mhm.
And the problem is, if you have cattle upstream that are shitting in the water,
Oh no!
washes down there, and the cattle have liver flukes, you can get liver flukes in the watercress.
The fuck is
that
a
then
liver fluke,
colonize
Jim?
more liver.
What is a liver fluke?
It's like a nematode that fucks up your liver.
This
I'm
sounds
not
like
a biologist. Don't come at me, biologist.
oh my god, liver. It sounds like a fucking.
What?
It sounds like a fucking like a being they would copy in Animorphs or something. Holy shit!
No, like, so
That's
when
how we're
I
gonna get
got
into the
my
York pool
watercress
this week.
At Fresh Time in West Bloomington, I was like, these bastards better not give me a liver fluke. I'm doing it for the science and for the likes.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Wow,
vile.
this-
It doesn't
is a
look bad.
very-
It doesn't look bad. I'll
No,
I'll
it's
say it.
cucumber and apple and walnuts and Worcestershire sauce.
Again,
and jello.
again, on top
You know
of like on top of a salmon or something, I'd be fine with that.
But you know, it's like, hold on, here's the thing. Like, when people post pictures of their pie before they bake it, with like a beautiful crust, they got the design on it, whatever. This is the same thing, where it's like, okay, that's great. How did your crust actually turn
It's
out?
gonna get worse.
Like, and I know it's gonna get worse because you only posted the
You have
picture
to hollow
of
out
the
a cabbage.
Wait, you okay, yeah, I mean that would make sense. You hollow it out. So much work for
Oh,
nothing.
Carrie, stop. Watch the
Carrie,
show. Don't
don't
text
DM
me
it.
while we're live, Carrie.
God, Carrie, you had one job.
Carrie, put out away. This is very important.
Thank you. See, I love memes, so I made that one.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean,
You're doing
'cause
okay.
that's-
You're doing okay
How
here.
do you even do that?
I only stabbed myself once in the hand with that sharp
That
serrated
looks
knife.
really
Fine.
good. That looks really good.
I think you
dude.
did pretty
For the
good.
first time, it worked out okay.
I'm afraid to
Looks
advance. Okay.
Okay. Oh god, not again.
Oh, the
Oh,
recipe too.
why is it doing that? Why? What am I I can't comprehend this.
This is like the internet.
This is
This is
oh
not
my
what
god,
I
it's the
wanted.
cursed bread bowl.
When I ordered a gluten-free bread bowl, this is not what I wanted.
I am looking at this, and it's just like, this is some H.P. Lovecraft shit. I'm looking into the maw of death.
That's worse.
I'm looking into fucking Shub Nagroth right here.
How did you make that?
What the
Oh my
fuck?
Casey, is this
God.
the first time you're seeing this?
This is the first time I'm seeing this.
I'm like never
Continue.
on Facebook,
Tiger
but-
prawns. Okay. Oh,
And-
whoa.
oh my God.
St. Elmo's. Let's fucking go. I love the St. Elmo.
Sauce
I
is
missed
fucking
this.
great.
I missed the St. Elmo's. So the World Shrimp Eating contest is in Indianapolis, like the World Championship Shrimp Eating contest,
Oh my
and you have to like
God.
pick the shrimp out of a bowl of fucking St. Elmo's cocktail sauce.
No, that stuff is not okay.
No, I
had
love
to
that
dilute it
shit.
with
I love
ketchup.
that shit. I've
hot.
been to St. Elmo's. Our mine and Daisy's friend Jonathan Egan goes. He's
Yeah.
been going to Gen Con every year for 45
Let's
years.
go to Gen-
And
Gen
he
Con,
always
yeah.
takes his wife to St. Elmo's. And one year he could not take her to St. Elmo's, so he gave me the gift card he would have used for St. Elmo's, and I got to go and have the fucking cocktail sauce and maybe some other stuff. I love it, Jim. I'm gonna
Good,
continue.
it's too
Oh my
hot.
God.
Okay.
Okay. Like you got like the good prawns also. You didn't
Oh
just get, like-
no! No! It's the fucking beholder! It's the fucking beholder!
Wait a second. Wait a second. Jim.
I hate this!
Jim. Dom, somebody, we have to return to the recipe. Is this what the recipe is described?
She is
Did the
unclear
recipe
about how to position
describe
them.
this?
She's unclear.
It
She
is
says
unclear,
line
so
the
you
exterior.
decided that you should do this.
Yes,
You
she
have
says
them
line
point
the
up to
exterior.
heaven and not down to fucking hell?
You point them up, Jim. There's no way in God's
Jim!
Wait,
earth
that's
that
worse.
you
Click to the next photo.
No! No, it's the fucking beholder! That thing's got eye stalks! Oh my god! Why can't I look away?
Jim, this is not what God intended. This is not what the recipe curator intended.
What do you want me
All
to do with this?
You dip them in. They're dipped in. They
Follow
hang
the
off.
recipe.
Their little tail butts hang off.
I did what she told me to do.
You did not.
Does
You
it keep
see-
going? Does
You
it
did
keep
not.
going?
This is ungodly.
Oh
You
my
cooked
God.
It, right? Do you freeze it?
Oh.
Or you cook it?
Hitchhiker thumb right there. Oh my god, I'm crying, y'all.
The watercress.
Watercress, I have thoughts.
Wait, the watercress? Hold on. The watercress is not already in it.
No. It's for garnish.
It's for garnish?
That's it.
God
It's-
damn it! The liney served me fucking grass. The limeys fed me fucking grass, Jim.
They served you grass. They served you grass.
Oh my
That's it,
god!
it's just
This is the
Already
fucking
ruined
Dungeon Master. This is the cover of the
Yes.
fucking Dungeon Master's Guide. Holy shit. Okay, festooning. Wait, did we keep
What
going?
do you do with that part of the
No,
story?
Jim! You're responsible! No!
Not in the recipe, Jim.
Perhaps we are already in hell, Jim!
Hey, folklore is all about the interplay of tradition and innovation.
Jim, that was not in the recipe.
Jim, this is not
You
dynamic!
tell me-
Barry Tolkien's judging you for
How
this
to
one,
live my
Jim.
life.
Look, Barry Tolkien is very strong.
No, there's mayonnaise still! Fuck me!
Jim.
Yes.
No! Oh, actually, that's a little. That's kind of sexy with it. I'm not gonna lie. Very, very good use of the fucking frosting piping. All I'm saying is, I would do a little like frosting of mayonnaise, like on a little like a crostini, you know,
Oh my
Like,
god!
with like a cucumber.
This is now public domain means I have no career awaiting me at any point.
Not in the cooking industry.
That's for sure.
It is. I agree
Not
with
in-
friend of the show, Jean Marie. You saved it with the mayonnaise. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a Whoville appetizer.
Jean
This is a
Marie
motherfucking
actually uses
roast
my-
beast from Whoville.
Jean Marie has actually requested and received permission to use my Jello album in her folklore classes at the University
Hell
of Kentucky.
yes.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
You know, I just want to point out the two Kentuckians we've had on the stream lately, Jean Marie, like everyone cried, and we had a very like cathartic episode.
Yeah.
And people are crying for Jim's stream, but for very different reasons.
For the other end of the spectrum of crying. Oh my god.
Oh my
When
god.
McNeil should happen to see this, all I said going into this was, I just want to live up to whatever standard Lynn McNeil set, and I hope this is like, I'm sure this can exceed Lynn McNeil, but I'm
It's
sure
a very different vibe.
Yes.
Lynn McNeil has the most different vibe from whatever this is.
Lynn McNeil has
Lynn McNeil's
taste.
talking about. Yeah, exactly.
I just want you to like, oh my god, this is like Gary Gygax, notice me, senpai. I made a scarier monster than you.
I made a scarier monster, please.
What the
Like,
fuck?
I sent you my.
This took a year off my
reverse-
fucking life.
Lynn McNeil, I sent you my reverse strip. Please respond.
Notice
Lynn
me.
McNeil just
I
like
sent you
friended
my
me on
upside down
Please
Facebook
reply.
a couple months ago. She's gonna see
my
this and
God.
unfriend me.
Good.
She's gonna see this and go, "Oh
You
my
had that
god, that's
coming?
reverse. That's reverse shrimp. I'm not responding."
All right.
What, would you have made the shrimp like point down?
I don't know.
Yes, you should have hung them on the edge of the
Well,
cabbage.
she said surround the edge with shrimp, which I
Yes.
did.
You hook them into the little. They're like hanging on the edge because you hollowed it out to make a little.
I'm sorry, and that would be better?
Yes.
I don't know
So,
anymore. I don't know anymore.
know.
I don't
I don't
know
know,
what's
you
right.
added-
I'm having a fucking epistemological crisis looking at this.
You had a cabbage. You added the celery. That was not requested. Why?
A
all of
cabbage.
this. You cabbage. You
Like,
did
It
this.
sounded vaguely like Bill Cosby just now, which is not a good.
Oh no! Do not bring Bill Cosby.
You
up.
put
Oh
the
my God.
shrimp into cabbage with
No!
the jello.
We
Oh my
no one
God,
needs
no.
that.
No.
God, Lydia, come on.
Please.
We just watch the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the
Lydia.
show, Lydia, bring her in. Stop texting me. Okay.
Clicking through, because you'll see me eating it on a
No,
sidewalk on
there's
3rd
more.
Street.
There's
You-
God damn it.
Oh, it gets worse. Yeah, I was proud of that.
That is it's an eldritch horror. Jim.
Oh, why?
that-
I don't know.
That,
I don't know what to do
that
with this.
that looks better.
Oh my
there I am in front of the
god.
house. Because it was a sorority cookbook, and I was like, I live near the Pi Beta Phi house. I should go eat it there.
Did anyone have it?
No, so thank God it was winter break, but I was like, I don't want to get arrested, like, eating this crap on the sidewalk.
Oh
and people
my
are walking
God.
past me as I'm taking the photos, and I was like, this doesn't look good.
No.
You've got a plate of shit in front of a
Jim,
house full of
Jim,
60 young
okay.
women. What do you think it looks like?
Jim, you like
Ted Bundy.
oh my God, you went like, oh, COVID, time for me to do the side quest no one has chosen in over 50 years.
This is the side quest everyone skips.
This is the one everyone skips. I guess I'm gonna do it so no one else
You
has
reload a previous
What?
save to get rid of the side
Oh,
quest.
Patreon firewall, because I feel like I
No,
just
this
burned
is
down
on
my-
YouTube.
This is
Oh
fucking
my
good.
god.
This is fucking good.
Okay.
No, you did it for the love of food waste, for the love of historical recreation.
Okay.
It wasn't that terrible.
Okay,
It
but
wasn't great. It wasn't that terrible.
but it looked like
But there's there's a coda. There's a coda. Go for it. The candle salad recipe was above it, and I was like, "It's the holidays. Let's do this."
Candle salad.
oh no. Oh, that's kind of oh god. It's oh god.
Candle salad.
Oh god. Oh boy.
Wait, what?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Why make that? What? This is like the 4-year-old got a hold of ingredients and said, "Let my brain live."
Don, click over, because you light it on fire. I'm not kidding.
Oh my god. Oh my god. The only thing I can hear looking at this is Belial. Yeah, how's it go?
Beelzebub.
Yeah.
No,
Beelzebub.
it's Beelzebub. Wait, no. Yeah, Asmodeus.
Lucifer.
Lucifer. Asmodeus, Satan, Lucifer. That's what it is. Yeah.
Somehow I feel like
Belial,
everybody,
Behemoth,
every other
Beelzebub.
Behemoth. Yeah, that's it.
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus.
Satanus. Lucifer.
Lucifer.
I feel like literally every other Folkwise guest that you was more professional than I was.
No.
We played Eldritch Horror Smasher
Jim?
Pass with Maddie Howard.
Jim?
But
Beautiful.
Jim, you curated a background.
You know how many?
Do you know how many dark rooms we've done this
I mean,
in?
I'm allergic to this.
That
I can't get into that. But
That
this
one was
is
not good. That had avocado and strawberries.
Asmodeus, Satanus, Lucifer.
Lucifer.
People have told me, they're like, you could go viral if you would just put this on TikTok.
On
And I'm
TikTok,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, you would.
not
TikTok
be my
would eat
legacy.
this shit up.
Yes, you
TikTok
would.
would eat the shit up.
What would be your legacy? Just make a burner account, dude. Be like Jello King 4000, and then just like do
Oh,
that. It's a
Jello
burner
Daddy
account, dude.
4000.
Then everybody's gonna tell me that I'm derivative of that Dylan Hollis guy, and I'm like, no, I was. doing
No,
this on my
Jim, you're
own.
doing your own thing at
Jim.
this point.
You are doing something unique
So-
unto the earth.
Respect for respect is due. He's doing his own thing and he's doing it well, but I'm better at garnishing, and I'm gonna own that. And I'm gonna put it out there.
Throw down the gauntlet, okay?
Yeah, dude. Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
could he do this?
No,
I don't think he wants to.
that's why you should do it.
God, look at all those protozoas as
Jim.
garnish.
We're not even.
Jim, we got 15 minutes left. We got one more thing to do. Daisy, you want to lead it off? You wanna get into it?
Do it.
Jim, this is the end of our funsy questions, which were really insightful and very fascinating for all of us, I assume.
Indeed.
Have you ever made a tier list before?
A what?
A
A
tier
tier
list.
list.
I have not. I don't know what that is.
Daisy, get
Great.
into it.
Great. So a tier list is something that got really popular on Twitch for ranking fighting games. You assign ranks to characters from S to D, S being superior, ultimate, number one, beyond A, and D being the worst, trash, dumpster fire. But recently on the internet, people use it to rank things of everyday life. So we've created a tier list for you, uniquely, on our show, of the best prom sequences in movies. We have a list of movies that Dom will read off to you. It'll be easier if Dom reads them to you because they're a little bit small on the screen. You can rank them on our tier list from S to D. You can rearrange them. The tier list goes vertically and horizontally. You can put multiple things in different categories. You can reshuffle them by the end of it. But we thought that this best suited Jim Seaver to answer the question of the official tier list for Jim Seaver, best prom sequences in movies tier list. Are you ready?
I'm gonna try to be.
Let's go. I
Wonderful.
accidentally have Back to the Future on here twice, but we're only going to count it once. Where does Back to the
Yeah.
Future's fucking fish under the sea dance go?
I have not seen that movie in at least 30 years.
Good.
let's
Have an
start
opinion.
out
Opinion
Good.
now. Do it.
with a more
Good opinion. Go.
like fourth place.
Is that C?
Like C tier?
Like orangish.
Oh,
B.
B.
Oh, like what is green good and red's bad?
Red's good,
No.
green's bad.
That's counterintuitive, but
It is.
okay, so it's yellow.
All right.
Okay. C tier. B tier.
Cool. Next up is we are looking at the prom scene in She's All That.
Have I seen that? I feel like maybe I saw it like in the late night. Put that in last place.
The damn Freddie Prinze Jr. Okay, next up, Carrie.
Okay, so remember how I said that I was forensic science faculty?
Uh-huh.
I have multiple problems with this movie, but I also acknowledge it's iconic because it's the anti-prom movie. My problems with it are that she has an unhealthy relationship with her PE teacher who slaps her every time she overreacts. And I'm like, that's not good teaching. But the bucket of blood, because I teach forensic science, I'm like, that pig's blood up in the rafters. First of all, how do you find that much pig's blood on short notice? Secondly, how did it not coagulate while it's waiting up there?
How? How did it not? How is it not chunky?
Are they warm? Yeah, heated
my
vat.
heart for Sissy Spacek because she went on to play Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter, and I'm currently working on a historical marker about Loretta Lynn.
That's right, brother.
So let's put Carrie in second place. We may need to revisit that.
Sure. You've already talked shit about Heath Ledger earlier, but this is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Fourth place, move whatever's in fourth place up to third.
Oh, so we're going Back to the Future gets brought up to B tier now.
One of my best friends named Tara, she will me, but I have never been into 10 Things I Hate About You.
All right.
I don't like Shakespearean adaptations into 90s teen movies. I'm sorry.
That's fair. Okay.
Fair enough.
At least you're consistent. Next up is Footloose.
Ooh, I feel bad saying this. I've never seen it.
What?
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm not super into Kevin Bacon movies.
That's fair. That's fair.
Jim's only into bacon if he can suspend it in gelatin.
I'm also not into Kenny Loggins that much. Oh no, is he watching right now?
Yes, Kenny Loggins if you're watching.
Kenny Loggins are
So is this going under...
Kenny Loggins is definitely watching Full
Is this
Flies.
going under She's All That?
Is that possible?
Yep. That's what Daisy said. They go vertical and horizontal.
Yep.
Okay.
Next up is Mean Girls.
I feel like I've seen it, but it didn't make an impression on me, which I know is going to horrify people. Let's put it in third place.
So you're talking about
B above or below B?
above or below Back to the Future?
B level. I like some. I showed clips from it in my alcohol course about the cool mom,
Yeah, I'm a cool mom.
Cool.
where we talk about like adolescent drinking patterns and how parents factor into that.
Next up we've got Napoleon Dynamite.
Second place, I love that.
So behind
yeah.
Carrie.
The fluffy arms. The reason it goes in second place is because I have a specific movie that I want in first place, but even that's problematic.
Yeah, I hope it's on here. Next up we've got Never Been Kissed.
Never seen it.
Oh, I like this one.
Oh wait, that's the one with Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to watch it before I taught my prom class, and I just didn't get around to it. Fourth place.
Fourth place.
So
Above
above 10
level?
things or under 10 or yeah, which way?
I'll put it next to 10 things.
But above or below?
You must. There is no equality.
Yeah, there's no equals on a tier
Oh.
list.
No equal.
You have to
it's
pick.
up-
What's wrong
above
with
or
where
below.
it's sitting now? Let's
Oh,
leave
we can
there.
do it now. So between 10 Things I Hate About You and She's All That. Okay.
Sure.
Next up is Prom Night.
Never seen it. Is that
Jamie
a
Lee
horror
Curtis.
movie?
Yeah, a horror movie. Jamie Lee Curtis, 1980. Serial killer at the prom.
I'm really bad at this. I really meant to watch more of these movies going into teaching that course in 2019, but instead I decided to show them an episode of Dawson's Creek.
Oh,
about an
well.
LGBT-friendly prom.
Speaking my language, that's Toledo's most famous resident, Katie Holmes.
Joey. Oh my God, Joey! I'm like really into you.
So are you leaving this off the list or putting it somewhere spicily?
What's the leave it off because I don't know where to put
Prom
it.
Night. Okay, and then we've got here's baby Chris Evans leading a choreographed dance number in Not Another Teen Movie.
I think I saw that in theaters.
The big hook of the prom sequence is the two leads turn around and go, man, why is everyone at our school a professional dancer level we have no professional dancer level choreography. Yeah.
Right.
Like fourth place. Like I saw it, but it wasn't super memorable.
So you're saying in this tier, it's C tier with
C tier. Put it in C tier.
Is it above or below 10 Things I Hate About You?
Below.
Below. And is it above or below Never Been Kissed?
It's above.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good, you're good. This is the last one we've got here, and it is Prom, like the Netflix original.
The Prom?
Yeah.
Like I've seen clips of it, and I thought it was cute. Put it in second tier. But you did not hit my first tier movie, Dom, and I'm actually pretty mad at you right now.
Which is?
What is it?
Where's this going?
Pretty in Pink.
Pretty in Pink, of course.
I got
Oh,
you.
you big
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Don't worry about this.
McCarthy.
I got you. Keep talking about Pretty in Pink, and I will hook you up.
Pretty in Pink is so good.
Number 1, first place. But here's what's so frustrating is she should have chosen Ducky. Although was Ducky into her? Well, he was,
Like,
but he
probably,
like
but he seemed like an asshole though. Okay, I like Pretty in Pink. Okay, like I don't. It's not good. Ducky would have been shitty long term. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
in general, I always advise like my high school students, I'm like, don't prioritize dating at the high school level. You're just gonna get your heart broken and wasted on somebody who's not worth your time.
That's what they say. And then they spend way too much time, and then they're like, "Damn, why did I spend all that time?" And it's like, "Damn, yeah, you missed out."
But like Andrew McCarthy's character was kind of a douche, and like James Spader, James Spader in that movie is the unbelievable character because he's like 17 going on 40, and he's
Right.
wearing like business suits to school and stuff.
Jim, click my watch stream so that way you can see what Dom has done for you here.
Does that work?
Folks.
So,
There it is. Yes.
in my prom class in 2019, I told my students you need to throw your own prom for the entire GSP community, all 400 people, which includes faculty, staff, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't do a basic prom. I need you to flip the narrative on its head. Their first idea sucked. They were like, fireflies. We'll all show up in pajamas and have string lights and stuff. And I was like, 3 days later, I walked into the classroom. I was like, no, I hate this idea. Try again. And they ended up doing what we jokingly referred to as Edgar Allan Prom.
Oh my
It was
God!
like,
Yes.
God.
Prom. So they weren't allowed to go like horror. It had to be macabre. And they knocked it out of the park. They did a phenomenal job. We threw this
That's
great dance for everybody.
awesome.
And here's the sad
That's
part,
so
the like
cool.
poignant part. So we threw that dance in July 2019 as these kids are starting their senior year the following month, and then COVID hits.
Oh boy.
And I had kids contact me in the spring of 2020 to say, thanks for giving me the only senior prom I'm going
Oh, Jim.
to get. It was heartbreaking, but it was also so meaningful that they had a prom.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
That's really sad. And then it was also like a really macabre kind of prom.
Yeah.
Oh, what a horrible
Now,
coincidence.
Jim, I have to say this. You know, Anna Morell, Nay O'Brien, the folklorist. Do you
Oh
know?
my
Do you know
God.
what her junior prom theme was at the Toledo School for the Arts?
You tell.
Heart of Darkness. It was a Joseph Conrad themed prom.
That's not okay.
It's not
No,
okay.
it really wasn't. It really kind of was not.
It's not okay. It's
So
the
my
worst.
prom
It is the worst
theme-
prom theme I've ever heard.
My prom theme, Lafayette, senior high school, class of 2000, which shows how old I am.
Oh,
our prom
you're my
theme-
brother Anthony's age.
Yeah.
Does he look very middle-aged?
A little bit.
Do you? Do
Okay.
you think you look middle-aged? Anyway, we don't
Like,
have
it
to get
I
depends
into
on
think
the
you've
day.
got you've
Yeah,
got
there
vim
is
and
not
vigor
good
to
time.
you. Yeah.
Anyway, so our prom theme was Unforgettable. You know the Nat King Cole, Natalie Cole song?
Yep.
Oh my
But-
God, yeah.
That's
It
why, darling.
played Back That Ass Up at least 2, possibly 3 times during the night. So I always tell people Back That Ass Up was my unofficial prom theme.
Da-na-na-na-na-na. My senior prom theme was Night at the Roxbury, but we were the Knights,
Oh
so
my
it was
God.
Night with a K.
Oh, like night.
I hate that for you.
Oh, that's funny,
No,
yeah.
the like the house music. We played a lot of house music. It was pretty fun.
I was not a good prom date, and in fact, because I was teaching this course, I told my students, I was like, I need to be forthcoming with you about my prom experience because we are using prom as this like microcosm of all these larger issues. And I was like, I was not a good date. I drove my prom date home at midnight and went and hung out with my friends at a bowling alley.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
In my defense, she forgot to get me a boutonniere.
Well,
What? How do you forget that? That's like
sounds like you were very
Italian
encouraging.
culture, dude.
Like, but
Yeah,
this is, there are all these cultural expectations built into what the perfect prom's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and nobody knows. We're all just feeling our way through it. We're all in this carnival-esque kind of like posing to be real adults in a fancy event, and I don't know. That's kind of what we unpacked in this course that I taught. But yeah, my prom date's birthday was the other day, and on Facebook I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was such a terrible date." And, she wrote back, and she was like, "We were teenagers, we were all terrible. It's totally cool."
Yeah, it's true.
But Daisy, what was your senior prom?
I went to 2 proms my senior year, and or did I? No, I only went one prom my senior year. I went one prom my senior year, and it was on a boat.
You went to the fucking Catalina wine mixer for senior
I went
prom.
to the Catalina wine mixer. Was it? I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Was there a
it was
theme,
like,
or was it just boat prom?
I'm trying to
Were you
remember
on an
what
actual boat?
I think we were. Well, I lived in California, so that wasn't like totally unbelievable. And it was for and my school was it was a lottery school, so it was like only a certain number of students were accepted every year, but it was a public school. It wasn't like a private school. I don't remember what my theme was. I remember one of them was Phantom of the Opera. One of the maybe it was and then one of them was like the 20s. Like we had a roaring 20s. I don't remember what my senior prom was.
I
It's
was
because I
digging
didn't care
Andrew
that much.
Lloyd Webber themed prom.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah,
Little Starlight
Express. That's what I was thinking. That's the best prom theme.
yeah, honestly.
All right. Where do we, Daisy? How do we even wrap this one up?
Me submitting my resignation before they can fire me.
That's true. I was gonna say on a scale from Pretty in Pink to Footloose, how psychedelic is your fur? All right, so I think we've reached the end of Jim's episode.
I was gonna say, like, on a scale from Molly Ringwald to Kevin Bacon, how flashy is your seasonal high school holiday? That was bad.
Well, he may put it at the bottom of D tier, but let's hear it for the boy. Chat, I want all the ladders, all the emotes you got for Jim. We reached the end of Jim's interview.
I'm high-fiving everybody through cyberspace.
High-fiving a million angels.
Yes!
Go read my Wine Moms article.
Go read the Wine Mom article.
There's some
And
great memes in there.
it's in the Wikipedia page for woman yelling at cat. The ladders are rolling in for Jim. Yeah, go find him on a Wikipedia page near you.
So
And
silly.
Wow.
yeah, this is it. This is the episode.
Hey,
You did it, Jim.
everybody,
That was
everybody
so
watching,
much fun.
This was
everybody
incredible.
watching on YouTube. Thanks for sticking with us for the extra long episode.
Quilts have had meaning on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.